Well, it occurred to me while I was out here working on this thing that we haven't done a low budget ZJ project update here in a while. So here we are, we're working on old Darth Wobble today. Got my sticker put on. We're doing some modifications here to the front because I took it out to Tahuya in Washington, if you know where that is, over the weekend, and well, kind of rearranged a little bit of the plastic on the old thing. So ripped off the fascia. It was already cut and broken anyway. So I'm gonna have to build some sort of skid here for this. Pressure wash out the condenser is getting a little hot running it with the AC out there yesterday. So what I'm doing now is trying to fix this fender problem. I had issues with the tires jamming in there. And so, we're doing this true low budget style. I ended up putting the coil spacers back in. I don't remember if I had that in the last video, but since then I put those spacers in or back in, either way. And we also got some arms from an XJ. I believe it was like a 98. I think the guy ended up wanting to put long arms on his thing, so I pulled these out of the scrap bin. Gave me a little bit more down traveling, so they're not actually touching there, which is good. I mean, we're pretty much maxed out here as far as we can go. I mean, I can kind of push on this and get it to go a little bit more, but that's pretty much it. Picked up a set of ballistic joints, which we'll take a look at here in a while. I want to do the tri-link, or the 3-link in the front and the triangulated 4 in the back. But I also picked up a WJ the other day for free. It has a rod bearing. I'm going to end up fixing that. So I got a pair of, actually a lot's happened since the last video. I got a set of Dana 60s out of a center axle disconnect Dodge truck. And I know everyone's going to say, it's fucking garbage, it's fucking junk. But, dude, it's free. So, I mean, free's a good price. I don't care if it is a center axle disconnect or not. It's definitely not ideal. It's not the highest performance, but free. It fits along here with the low budget job here. Let's see what else. I don't think I had this one in the last video, but I put the spacers in the rear as well. I ended up having to trim those and cut them a little bit. It's not really worth talking about, but still getting some stuff here, tire stuff, even with the spacers in the back, but I mean, that's kind of what you expect with what we got here. So I got some JK rear uppers, I believe. I stuck them in the bottom here, and I actually hooked the sway bar back up to kind of help out with the tire stuff a little bit. So these arms are a little bit longer, and they help correct the angle. You can see what we can see. The drive shaft is pretty much stuffed in there as far as it goes when the suspension's all the way down. So I actually cut some spacers for the transfer case trans mount there for the Clayton cross member. And it's a nice thing, but man, that thing hangs down pretty far. So I guess it's not really going to be a huge deal. So I haven't really decided exactly how I'm going to proceed with this. So we're right in the heart of wheeling season now, and I don't want this thing to be down all summer. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep it as is for now, and drill out the 30 spline rear Dana 60 for the 35 spline axles, and then just do the Tri 4 in the rear here, get rid of this track bar, put the 60 in here with some 37s, and put that center axle disconnect axle in the front, and then do the delete and just put chrome shafts in it. And then I think that's pretty much going to be it for this project. I'm working on getting a Kingpin 60 and a 70 for the WJ project. So I'm going to have two two of these projects. I love this car just because it is what it is. I mean, I think basically bone stock factory vehicle with a couple add-ons. I mean, some rough country springs and some rough country shocks and some $10 spacers and a track bar and a bracket in the back, and pull the cover off and weld the diff. I mean, you got a trail ready rig. So the WJ, that's going to be a whole nother project, which we'll get to eventually. So you can see here we got some rubbage. And I did have spacers on the front here with these wheels, and it got to the point where it's kind of like, you fix one problem and create another. So the further out the wheel goes this way, the more of a chance you have of hitting and rubbing here. So I ended up having to take the spacers off so it wasn't rubbing here, and then so it rubs here instead. So I guess there's always going to be some type of rubbing in this particular setup. See, the problem is now that the upper arms are bottomed out, and that is the limiting factor here. So that's the problem with short arms. There's only so much you can do, right? See, we got a little bit of boo-boos here, so we're gonna have to work on this and fix. We're gonna have to build something to protect this lower support here. That bumper's not going back on. It makes it a lot easier to pressure wash this thing when it gets. I always pressure wash it when I get home while it's on the trailer, just so when I get in here and start messing around with it, it's cleaner. So, yes, what we're doing here, I just kind of got my grinder and followed the line here to the best of my ability after I had 5 or 6 beers in me, and cut some reliefs in here and did some more pounding on this, try and push that back. But I don't know what I'm going to do here. I might just round this corner off and just say fuck it. I'm going to end up sticking the shielding back in there somehow and zip tying it, try and keep a lot of the splashing out. Lost the antenna this weekend, so that's a bonus. Just kind of keep the mud and stuff off of the hinges and the wiring in there. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where we're at. Not a lot has changed. I'm getting a little bit more confident in it, but I just know that one of these axles is going to break. I mean, Dana 35 and a 30, they're made out of glass. I mean, somebody put U-joints and bearings in this before I got to it. So, I mean, they're newer, but I mean, let's see, the seals are leaking, and it's old. It's a 95. What do you expect? So one thing I'm probably going to end up doing is the WJ knuckle swap on this guy eventually, but then again, I don't know if it's even really worth it, because if I do the 60s, then I won't really need to. So right now I got options. Options are good. I like options. So I guess we'll just kind of go through this and see where we are when the dust settles. But I got to get through this summer. Got to get the axles here, and I want to at least get the rear end first. That's kind of my thing, because I have all the stuff to do it. I just got to build the arms and weld in the brackets and put a set of gears in it, and it's basically ready to go. So that's the next thing, and it's going to be kind of weird having a 8-lug in the back and a 4 or 5 in the front, but I don't know. I'm just kind of in my own head right now. Like I said, we got to get through summer, and then we'll see where the dust settles. Got to get the WJ in here and get the pan off of it and yank the head and find out how much damage there is. It was a customer's vehicle. They brought it in. I was like, dude, this thing has a rod knock. You should fix that immediately. And so they kept drove it for about 40 miles, and then it got progressively worse, which you can imagine why. And the guy ended up pulling the oil pan to check the rod bearing, which was already too late by then, and the piston skirt had actually came apart inside the pan. And so they actually tried to drive it back here and got about halfway, and it started overheating. My guess is probably because there's too much fuel getting into the exhaust, because there was a lack of compression, or whatever's going on in that cylinder. So we'll visit that. It is also a Dana 30 and a 35, but it has a select track. That's one of the reasons I want it. And it also has a rebuilt Jasper 42RE tranny in it. So that's the other reason why I wanted it. you know, it's. I also picked up another ZJ, which we could talk about, I guess. Yeah, let's go look. Yeah, look at this beauty. This is a 93, but it has a mag motor in it and a 42RH, I believe. Whatever. So this one has a rod noise too. This one was free, and that's a good price. So my theory here was to pull this motor, fix the rods, and kind of tune it up a little bit, and then stick it in the Ram Charger, because that has a 318 in it from 87, which is like 140 horse, and it's got blunt head gaskets from being overheated, so it needs motor work anyway, and it's got a 727. I would like to have overdrive in that. That's also another candidate for the 3/4 ton axles. Yeah, I'm still got a lot of projects here. Got quite a few things going on here. Ram Charger, got the 70 in, and turns out that the left rear hub brake assembly is completely locked up, and I had to drag it. Well, I drove it in front wheel drive. It's got a 203 transfer case, locked it, and just kind of drug the whole wheel all the way out here. I was hoping it was going to break loose, but it didn't. So that's another project that's on hold. Got the crew cab, got the flags up for now. And see, there's another project, the 05 WK. That's a 2-wheel drive rig, and kept spitting rockers. And so it turns out that it actually had a partially sucked valve, so I put tensioners in it, and it ended up sucking the valve a couple days later. So that one's on hold. It's 2-wheel drive. It's just a flipper. So I'm gonna get a set of heads for that for the wintertime. But this Z-Jizzle here, this one is it's trashed. I mean, maybe if somebody wanted to love this thing, but 271,000 miles on it. Whew, yeah. I mean, nothing in here works. It's just full of water. Windows broken, so I don't know. And it's also got the full-time transfer case, so it's basically junk. So this one is just going to be a donor for the engine and transmission, and I might pull the wheels off of it and just have an extra set of rollers here for whatever project I might think of in the future. But just another Dana 35, Dana 30, just another, more crap. So there's the KJ, the one that's bent. This one's just been my let's say, like a lot car. I've been doing firewood for the last couple weeks, so I got some pieces in here drying out for I'm gonna make some tables out of some pieces of wood I cut up. But this one's just kind of a little storage guy. It was hit pretty bad, and so the whole subframe and everything's bent. So I got this one for 8 cents. This one here, the WK, that was I think $200. And then here is the WJ project. So just your standard 4-liter. They did a head gasket to this, and told them it had a leaky radiator, and they just kept driving it. And people that owned it weren't exactly the most financially stable. So yeah, a power tech. So this one, I'm just gonna yard the head off as it is. It's got coils in it. Somebody put coil in it, and I mean, there's just a bunch of new shit in this. So it's a shame to just let it go. So that's why I picked it up. He's got coolant. The radiator's new. Had a head gasket done. It's got coils, new tranny. Heater core was done about 2 years ago. So I mean, it's got a lot of good stuff in it. So this is a good candidate. I always wanted to build one of these, and the price was right. So here it is. So pull the pan off and yard the head off, and probably hope to God that cylinder's in good shape. Maybe I'll just hone it out and stick a set of pistons in it and head gasket and run it. Other than that, it's in pretty decent shape. AC works. This one's got 273,000 miles on it. So both of these free Jeeps here, over 250,000 miles. So I guess they don't really owe us anything. But this is going to be another project. These ones have the triangulated 4-link in them from the factory, and so The reason I wanted to do the 4-link and 3-link on this is just because the arms sit up higher in the vehicle with the cross members and everything. So I don't know, maybe I'll just keep the ZJ how it is and find a set of Dana 44s for it and keep it that way, and then put the 3/4 ton axles in this one, or both, or I don't know. I guess we'll just have to go from there. The Ram Charger, got it started, drove it around a little bit, still smokes like it's going out of business, but you know, reliable. Sat for 2 years and put some gas in it and sprayed some brake parts cleaner down the throat, and basically started right up. So it's got a charge regulator back there in the back that's foobarred, so I got the alternator unhooked so it doesn't put out 20 volts into the battery and boil it dry like it did last time. So that's something on the list. I guess I'll make out one separate video about this later. And then of course we got the crew cab, all reliable here. Beautiful. It's a thing of beauty. And then 76, which is kind of on hold until the next step here. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. The other thing that I'm doing here is got the solar stuff running, and see, we're putting out, well, I got it set at 500 watts. It's a grid tie. This one's a grid tie. This one's a grid tie. But we're putting in 600 watts into the house for free right now, basically running the garage for nothing. So that's exciting. And the other thing we're doing is we're building an expansion under the garage here. So I'm coming off 6 feet this way and 6 feet here. I'm going to make a little L-shaped expansion. This door here was, well, it's actually not a door, but there's 2 headers running across here and across there where those doors are. This was designed to be a door. So we're going to come off 6 feet here, and this is going to be tool storage and parts and stuff, part storage. So yeah, I've been moving dirt by hand with the old wheelbarrow, trying to keep myself motivated, because I recently quit working for the dealership and been just working for myself here at home, because the boss was a waffle donkey and I wanted to put a pin in his neck every time I saw him. So here we are back at home. So 20-minute video basically rambling on about nothing. See you in the next one.